I'm going to start the video by apologising for the quality, but if the Academy is not going to put the effort in, then neither am I. And I wanted to do this video because this is the first year I've actually somewhat cared about the Oscars. Let's get this out of the way straight away, okay? Award shows mean nothing. But I think for anyone in the industry, and well, what it should be is a celebration of the good stuff that's made, which is what I like to do on this channel. I like to celebrate the good stuff about film, which is why I'm doing this video, because I do want to highlight the good stuff that's been nominated. However, the Academy is just continuing to shit the bed week after week, and they've recently announced that they're cutting 4 categories from the telecast and they're going to put them behind ads basically, and there's a whole uproar about it. And I understand why they're doing it from a business perspective, because they're going to make money somehow, but it's frustrating when the awards should be about celebrating. I think the awards are cut I'm not going to bother listing them, but they'll be on the screen. But yeah, so now that that's out of the way, let's actually get into this and try and highlight the more positive stuff. As I was finishing up editing this video, I checked my Twitter and I saw the Academy post this article, and it looks like the campaign worked. All Academy Awards were presented without edits in a traditional format, so it looks like they won't be putting some of the categories behind ad breaks. One thing I gotta clarify is that there are a couple of categories I'm not going to be covering. That includes the 2 documentaries, so that's the feature-length documentary and the documentary short, plus the, I think, live-action short and animated short, mostly because I haven't seen any of them. I think I've seen one of the animated shorts, and that was just because it was shown before a film. The other category I won't be addressing is hairstyle and makeup, because I've only seen one of the films out of the 3, and it just doesn't feel worthwhile including. First up, we have the Best Picture award, and to be honest, the list isn't stellar. There are definitely films that shouldn't be on there. I'm not going to name stuff that shouldn't be on the list, whatever. I'm going to highlight the good stuff. But my pick for Best Picture is Roma, because I really think it is the best film on that list. The fact that I didn't get around to watching it until this year, it's a bit annoying because it would have placed highly on my top 10 list. But Roma is the only one I would want to win. In terms of what I think will win, honestly, maybe Green Book or A Star Is Born might win. I would love to see Roma win, I really would, but I think it's more likely for maybe A Star Is Born. Best Director, again, this one's easy for me because, well, I wanted Roma to win Best Picture, so Best Director has to go to Alfonso Cuarón. I would maybe give it to Pawel Pawlik. I apologize, I'm not good with pronouncing names, as you should know from my past videos. But Cold War was a really good film. It's nominated the same year that Rome was nominated, which makes it difficult for me, because I would lean more towards Alfonso for Roma. In terms of who I see winning it, maybe Alfonso actually. Possibly Spike Lee. I enjoyed BlacKkKlansman, but I didn't think it was that great. But yeah, my pick, Alfonso. Who I think is probably going to win it? Probably Alfonso, to be honest. So I think me and the Academy are on the same wavelength there. So now, Best Actor in a Leading Role. This one's actually a bit interesting for me, because while I have my opinions on Bohemian Rhapsody, I think Rami is the best thing about that film, and if it wasn't for him, that film would probably be a lot worse than it actually is. However, despite my distaste for Vice, Christian Bale was pretty good, but I think I would have to go to Bradley Cooper actually, because I enjoyed A Star Is Born, and I don't think I'd nominate, and I don't think I'd choose any of these other actors for Best Picture, at least in terms of the roles that are listed. So I would probably go Bradley Cooper. Who do I think's gonna win it? Maybe Rami. Yeah, I could see Rami Malek winning it because of how big Bohemian Rhapsody was. Actress in a leading role. I'm gonna get this out of the way straight away. I have not seen The Wife, and I have not seen Can You Ever Forgive Me, so I can't exactly give a definite choice because I've not seen either of the performances. I know this one's a bit more difficult. My pick, I'd probably go Yalitza, because again, Roma. Put it this way, if Roma's nominated, it's probably gonna be my pick. There's a few exceptions, but you know, I could maybe see Lady Gaga winning it or Olivia Colman. Yeah, I'm gonna go for Yalitza. I think that's, again, I apologize, bad with names. Who do I think's gonna win it? I don't know, because Yalitza's story is interesting because it's her first ever film, so the Academy might like the sentiment behind it, so they might choose her for that reason. But yeah, sure, let's do that. I think she'll win it. Okay, best actor in a supporting role. This one's actually really tough because I know it's a supporting role, but none of these are really standout performances for me. Maybe Mahershala Ali, because his chemistry with Viggo in Green Book was actually pretty good, and he is a good actor, like he is. Yeah, I'd probably go with Mahershala. Who do I think's gonna win it? I think Mahershala, because of the sentiment of the film, and you know what the Academy's like. Best actress in a supporting role. This one's actually a bit more interesting because while I wasn't a massive fan of The Favourite, I enjoyed it but wasn't hugely fond on it. I'd possibly give it to Emma Stone because I think she was the best part about that film, to be honest. Maybe Marina. Again, Roma's nominated, so I'm leaning towards it. Yeah, I'd probably go either Emma Stone or Marina. If I had to pick, though, just because I don't want to give every award to Roma, I'm going to go Emma Stone. Who do I think the Academy will pick? Maybe Emma Stone? Yeah, I could see that. I think she's won in the past, I'm not sure. Again, I literally, up until this year, I've given zero shits about the Oscars, and I still don't really give much, but it's fun to get involved. Best animated feature film. This one's actually a much easier pick. If we're talking film I most enjoy, I'd probably say Isle of Dogs. However, even though I enjoyed Isle of Dogs the most, I don't think I would give it the award. That probably sounds a bit weird, but I would give the award to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse just because of what it did. It's such an amazing case. It should have been nominated for awards other than animation, but it's categories. Yeah, I would. Isle of Dogs is the one I enjoyed the most, but I would give it Into the Spider-Verse, and I could honestly see Into the Spider-Verse winning it because they've picked up awards at basically every major award show so far. Best foreign language film. This category is disappointing for me because I've only seen 2 of the entries. I wanted to see all of them, but Shoplifters I missed when it was in cinema. I think it was in the UK cinemas in last year in November, and I missed it because I didn't hear anything about it until like the end of year awards. Never Look Away, there hasn't been a UK release date as far as I know, and Capernaum, again, I don't think there's been a UK release date, so I've only seen Cold War and Roma. Cold War is a very solid film, and I gave it an honourable mention in my top 10 films of the year. It's nominated against Roma, and I'm going to pick Roma above everything because Roma is amazing, and I am going to address Roma in my Letterboxd highlights for this month in March. Best Original Screenplay. This is an interesting case because, again, Roma's nominated, but I know my pick for this isn't Roma. It's actually First Reformed. Mostly because I think it's one of the more interesting films I've seen recently. Roma is a great film, but I don't think, like, if we're talking like original screenplay, I don't think it's like groundbreaking in many senses, at least in terms of the screenplay. I think it's the best film like on these lists so far. But First Reformed is just, the screenplay is so much more interesting to me, so I would give it to First Reformed. Who do I think will win? Possibly Green Book. After the Oscars, I will do a recap of the actual winners because I think it'll be interesting. But I could see Green Book winning. I don't see First Reformed winning. People sometimes complain that the Oscars and the Academy specifically choose arty films, but when I look back through like the award winners, I don't consider any of those films really arty. So I don't know. I don't see First Reformed winning it though. Maybe Green Book. Green Book or Roma probably. Best Adapted Screenplay. I mentioned I haven't seen Can You Ever Forgive Me. I haven't seen that, so I can't speak on it. But I've seen the rest of these, and the one I enjoyed the most was A Star Is Born. So I would probably give the award to A Star Is Born, and easily see A Star Is Born winning this award. Despite being a Coen Brothers fan, I didn't really care for The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, so I would give it to A Star Is Born, and I think that's what the Academy will choose as well. Oh, this is my award. Oh god, I love cinematography. The favorite was directed by Yorgos, and I love his style. And I've loved his style in The Lobster and The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I just think for the favorite they went too far because they chose lenses that were so wide that they started they fisheyed horrendously, and it works in a couple of places in the film, but the rest it looks god awful. I'm probably gonna get shot for that, but I do think the use of those lenses in some places is dreadful. Cold War is one of the best looking films I've watched in a while, and A Star Is Born was also pretty good looking. However, and I will say this again in my Letterboxd highlights, Roma is the physical embodiment of the phrase every frame a painting. There is not a single shot out of place. Everything is stunning. It's gorgeous, and I would give it to Roma. Who do I think will win? I could maybe see the favorite winning just because it's so different. Again, I haven't seen Never Look Away, so I can't speak on that, but compared to the rest of the films on this list, the favorite is so drastically different. I could possibly see the Academy choosing it. Nominated for Best Film Editing are quite disappointing because I don't think I would necessarily give the award to any of these. Black Klansman did something I hate, which is using stock images and not stock images, but archival images and footage, specifically at the end of the film, and I hate that. I've recently discovered that I hate that in films. Bohemian Rhapsody should not be nominated. I know I wasn't going to say anything, but it shouldn't be nominated for Best Editing. And Vice did the same thing Black Klansman did. It used images, and yeah, I don't like it. If I had to pick, I go Green Book just because it's the most straightforward, and there are some nice edited bits in it. I would choose Green Book. Who do I see winning? I can honestly see it being given to Vice just because it's so drastically different to the rest of the films on this list. I would be very disappointed if Vice won because I thought the editing when that was dreadful, but I could see it winning just because of how drastically different it is. Oh, Best Visual Effects. This one's easy for me, but it's mostly because I'm biased, because First Man was my film of the year last year. Sorry, I would give the award to First Man, mostly because it's great. The visual effects they're not obviously CGI or anything, if there is CGI in the film, which probably is because most modern films do have it in some form or the other, but it felt so real. I haven't seen Christopher Robin. I refuse to watch Ready Player One because I just can't. The idea of it, and I've seen pages from the book it's based on, and it just seems like a massive nostalgia fest, and I'm not up for that. Solo was a decent enough film, but I don't think it's breaking in any of its special effects. I would give the award to First Man. I could possibly see Infinity War winning just because it's not nominated for any other category. For some reason, Black Panther was nominated instead of Infinity War, but I'm not going to speak on that. Best Production Design, I need to clarify, PD is production designer, SD is set decorator, because it's a two-person award. I would give it to Roma First Man. Again, my bias is showing. I could possibly see Black Panther winning. Maybe Black Panther could possibly win, I think, the next award that's up on this slideshow. I would give it to First Man or Roma. I'd probably lean more towards Roma because it's recreating a time period and in extreme detail from what I've read. So I'd pick Roma. I haven't seen Mary Poppins Returns, and I have no interest in it. But my fiance absolutely hated it, and she loves the original Mary Poppins, so not sure what I should think about that. Yeah, Best Costume Design. This is the one I could possibly see Black Panther winning. Yeah, I would give it to the favourite, but again, I haven't seen Mary Poppins Returns, I haven't seen Mary Queen of Scots. Didn't really care for Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Didn't really care for Black Panther, to be honest. But I would pick the favourite, but I could see the Oscars picking Black Panther. Best Original Score. I only saw it the other day, but if Beale Street Could Talk has a really interesting score. It reminds me of noir films. I didn't care for Black Panther's score soundtrack. I don't remember Black Klansman's. Despite loving Isle of Dogs, I don't remember the soundtrack, and again, haven't seen Mary Poppins Return, so I would pick If Beale Street Could Talk. I could potentially see Black Panther being chosen though. Ooh, best original song. This category I don't really know much about. Shallow is a decent enough song. I think I would go When a Cowboy Trades His Spurs for Wings, just because it's the Coen Brothers, but I could see Shallow winning it, to be honest. Now against the real pedantic categories. Best sound editing. Even First Man on Quiet Place, because the sound editing in First Man, it's one of the elements that makes especially the test flight stuff so terrifying. Just the rattling and everything, like the way it's, you could argue that's mixing, but I don't know, that's sound editing. To be honest, despite knowing film and stuff, I don't know what the difference between sound editing and sound mixing is in the categories. I really should have looked up the definitions, but who does research? It's YouTube. Can I see winning? Possibly Bohemian Rhapsody, maybe Roma actually, because I saw a lot of people praising Roma for its sound design, and I think it's good, but it didn't really stand out to me. And then this is the other one, sound mixing. Again, I would choose First Man because it just does so much. I can see Bohemian Rhapsody being chosen, and that is it. That is all the categories that I actually could talk about, because obviously there's the few that I knew very little about. I'm not gonna stay up to watch the Oscars because I live in the UK and it starts at like 1 a.m. I'm not dealing with that. It's an award show. I'll read up about it the day after and then probably make a video about it. I've never really cared about award shows, but it's interesting getting involved in the discussion, and I do want to be a more positive force. I tried to for this video, but there were a few things I think slipped through. That's just gonna happen from time to time. What do you think of my picks and predictions? Do you have any of your own? Do you think I am massively wrong in some places? Do you have any opinions on the actual Academy or maybe the Oscars themselves? Be sure to let me know, because discussion about film is one of my favorite things, and I'm trying to get involved in more of it, which is why I'm making these kind of videos.